It's another poncho review. So, I found this poncho online at Joe's Army Navy, which is a local retailer here in Michigan. I see their tag. As you can see, it was $40 for this Angolan Army poncho. It's a contract overrun. So, you know, reading the reviews, there's so many people saying it's identical to the U.S. Army issue one. Well, we're gonna see. Here I have the tried and true U.S. Army one, Angolan. So let's take a look. First, let's get it out of the bag and let's look at it. I don't know why they insist on stuff sacks for these, but whatever. So, guess what? It's shiny. Just like the Miltek one. It's shiny. It's not drab. It's shiny. So that's already one strike against it. Let's see here. Get it unfolded. Let's see what the coating inside looks like. Oh, look. It's a drab coating. It's not transparent like the original USGI one. So, yeah. I'm going to get these spread out side by side on the ground, and we're going to do just like the Miltek, and we're going to compare them. So, stick around. Unfolded side by side. U.S. Army surplus, Angolan military. First of all, you can see the color difference. The Angolan's a lot darker and it's shiny. But that ain't all. It gets worse from there. So let me get in close and show you just how bad it gets. The grommets do not look similar at all. In fact, this looks like it could fail anytime. It looks cheap on this Angolan compared to the USGI, which is very robust. This is junk. Also, the snaps. Look at this and look at this. Let me turn it. So you see it's got the female on this side and then just the flat button here. When you look at the GI, we got the female and male. This is so you can attach two separate ponchos together to make a larger shelter. This Angolan one doesn't have that feature. It just has regular buttons or snaps. This is garbage. For the price this is being sold, this is garbage. Because how are you going to hook this up with somebody else's poncho to make a shelter? You're not. You can only do it with this configuration, not this. Another problem with this Angolan one is here at the hood. There's not even an afterthought of a cord lock. There's just these piddly little cords. I guess the Angolans went for the super cheap model. Not to mention, everywhere I look on this thing, there is just sewing thread, stray sewing threads everywhere. I'm not saying the stitching is cheap, I'm just saying they didn't even take 1 second to clean it up. Not impressed. I went back in the house and I got the Miltek out because I really now want to compare this Angolan to the Miltek. The Miltek is so much better. Okay, first of all, look at the coating. This is the Miltek. It's got a very drab green coating. It's kind of shiny versus the coating that's on this. I would say I like this coating on the Angolan better than the Miltek, but boy, the other stuff that's wrong with it. So let's get in here close and I'm going to show you the snaps on the Miltek and the grommet that is almost identical to the USGI. So here's the grommet on the Miltek. Nice and heavy. I mean, that's nice rolled edge. on that grommet when it's put together. This one on the Angolan, it looks like it's barely holding on. It just looks cheap. That's all I can say. Here is the snaps on the Miltek. As you can see, male, female. Once again, on the Angolan, female. And just the snap. Terrible design. At least the Miltek tries to replicate the USGI one. And another thing I noticed going all over this Angolan, this is the only tag I could find. Now, I don't read any, I don't know Spanish. Uso excluvo das Fuerzas Armadas Angolas. So yeah, whatever that means in Spanish. I'm not a Spanish speaker. So surprisingly, the seams where the hood is sewn on is actually taped. Honestly, I was expecting to find bubble gum at this point. Another thing to note is there is no tabs anywhere on this poncho for the waist cord. You come over here to the Miltek, there's the tabs. And the GI one, the USGI one, has that same setup. Okay. One thing I wanted to point out before I wrap up this video is how two ponchos with the correct snap configuration can be put together to make a simple shelter. Here on the right is the USGI poncho. Here on the left is the Miltek, and they made up just fine. So we're gonna take a slow walk. As you can see, we've got a ridge line going to each of these poles, going down to our tent stakes. There's the Miltek, toggled out at each corner. Clove hitch, toggled out at each end to a stake. And as you can see in there, you've got enough room easily for 2 people or even 3 people to get in out of the rain. Alright, and a nice little close-up here of the snaps. They snap right together. So I'm happy to say the Miltek mates right up to an original USGI poncho from the 90s. I mean, wow. You can't do it with that Angolan one. They won't mate up correctly. Because you can see here you got the female snap end out into the male, which is into that one. Well, when you come over here to this side, you'll see that they reverse. There's the male, and then it goes into the female, into the male. That's so the sides can go up on each end of the poncho to create your armholes. But I thought I'd just share that. This is a real simple thing. You just need a few sticks, a few tent stakes, and some 550 cord or similar cord to do up a ridge line, and boom, very simple shelter with 2 ponchos. Last but not least, we're going to do a water repellency test. Got our canteen of water, and it beads up and rolls off very nicely. So at least the Angolan poncho repels water. So I'll be right back and I'll give you my final thoughts. So have the Miltek right here, USGI from the 90s right here, Angolan in this bag. So what do I think? I think the Angolan is terrible. Will it keep you dry as a poncho? Sure. But it has none of the other features that the Miltek and the USGI have. You can't join this to another poncho to make a shelter. The grommets on it look cheap. just not impressed. And like I said, the stitching, in fact, look at this here on the bag. I don't know if you can see that. The stitching right here for this bag is all wonky and coming apart. And that's $39.99. That's the cheapest list price I could find for this. There are some places online that are selling that Angolan poncho for $60 before shipping. Now, I'm in Michigan. Joe's Army Navy is in Michigan. And it still cost me $54 to my door for this poncho. So, I think it's terrible for the price. If this was like a $20 poncho, I wouldn't be beating it up so much, but it's not. It's a $40 poncho. Now, to give you some clarity on this, the Miltek right here, the Miltek is $29.45 on Amazon right now. And if you have Prime, you have free shipping. So you might as well say $30, $40. And I think the Miltek's better, a lot better. So rating the Angolan 1 to 5, it's a 2. It really is just a 2. I wouldn't give it any more than a 2. Of course, the USGI is a 5. And now, after looking at other ponchos, I'm going to have to say that the Miltek is a solid 4. So, will I be buying and doing more ponchos? Probably. I'm still looking for that elusive copy. We will see. So until then, I'll catch you later.